Travelers on the Omnibus occasionally touches on mature subject matter with mature language. As such, the audience discretion is advised. Welcome back to Travelers on the Omnibus, a field trip through nerd and pop culture. My name is James McCarthy, and welcome back to another one of our rest stops. In this episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the board games and card games we've been playing lately. We're going to include things such as Alhambra, Ticket to Ride, and a lot of talk on Lorcana. But anyway, let's get into it with the guys, and here we go.
Other than watching shows on Disney Plus, we played some board games.
That is true.
Yes, this is a collective one. This is a collective one we've been doing.
Yes.
So Alhambra, which is one of the best Euro games of all time. We actually, at the shop, we have a version of it called Alhambra New York, which plays exactly like regular Alhambra. It's themed as New York City, Art Deco style, 1920s,
Never
1910s.
played Alhambra.
We've already got Power Grid set up for tomorrow. 2 weeks from now, I'm bringing Alhambra Big Box. That's the one with the 5 expansions and everything. We're gonna play
Alien
some
Encounters, Frontiers.
We set that up too.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 weeks from now.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Alien. I want to play Alien Frontiers. It's been a minute.
Oh, yeah.
I've never
I like
heard of
that game.
I love it.
It's a good game.
But yeah, so Alhambra, it's a kind of tile laying, building, economy management game where you buy buildings and you try to set them up inside of your city. Or if you're playing old Alhambra, you're trying to build the best Karat Alhambra that you can ever build. Which I
came in second.
Yeah, you came in second. Who came in first?
You.
Yes. Okay. Moving on. So now we've also got. I rarely get to play anymore, so I'm getting my laurels in where I can. God damn it! Brady looked at me cross-eyed. I had to regulate.
Rolled his eyes at you even.
Yeah, no. Oh my god!
It's like we're having a meeting.
There you go.
After we played Alhambra in New York, we played Mysterium.
Played Mysterium.
Yes.
That one we won. No,
we did not.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. Yeah, we've that was Alhambra, and then that. Yeah,
we played Dune.
We played Mysterium twice, and I lost both times.
We played Dune as well.
Yeah, we played Dune
Yep.
Imperium. Dune Imperium. There is a distinction there because there are games just called Dune.
There is a few.
Yes.
Boy, was I drawing cards.
Yeah, you were drawing many dozen cards.
Yeah,
I was making you discard them.
Yeah.
Yes. Why? Who did you get that allowed him to do that?
That bitch.
That bitch.
yeah.
The Reverend Mother Helen Gaius Mohiam. There we go. That was a lot of fun. That one is a deck building and also worker placement game. That has crept up into my top 10 for board games of all time.
I love it.
I like it.
I was very happy about
It's
that.
definitely my favorite deck building game.
Yep.
Even though that's not all it does.
Yeah.
Brady around at that same time was playing Lorcana with a friend of the show and fellow podcaster Jason Holder. I was playing Lorcana. How did that go?
I actually played Jason
you're
Sims
playing
this
Sims?
time.
Okay.
But yeah.
Another friend of the podcast.
Yeah, I think we played 3 matches and he won 2, I won 1.
Okay.
My deck wasn't where my deck was kind of just like what I had at the time. I had cards ordered. Most of them have come in. Well, all of them for that deck have come in, and I'm pretty confident about this deck. It has some weaknesses, but like it's a strong archetype. Throwing the inks Amber and Emerald, and it's an aggro deck. I'm trying to get lore as fast as possible before you can stop me. Hopefully in just 5 or 6 turns, I'm so far ahead of you that like you haven't been able to set your stuff up.
From what I've been working with on Pixelborn, I really like the Sapphire Steel kind of like ramp control deck.
I've seen that. I haven't been able to make that one work for me. Like I'm just not good at playing that. But I've been playing mostly. I've been playing this deck because that's what I've been building in real life. Pixelborn is like an online free thing, not by Disney or Ravensburger. Somebody just made it.
Someone wanted to rise against Disney and say, "Hey, I'm making this for everyone."
And it's really good.
To be fair, also just to the benefit of the game itself, right now, it's one of the ways you can actually get everything played together.
You can actually like it's really good for like testing that because you can play with people online.
It has rank-based matchmaking.
Yeah, and you can you have to download like the card and everything
and
separately because then it really wouldn't be legal. But it works pretty good. Making a deck is a nightmare. I figured out the best way to do it is to build put 1 ink in there, back out, save it, and then go back in and do it again. It might be my computer. Have you not had problems with that?
No, I type in what I'm looking for. I click, and then it's added, and then I go to a different color. Click.
I've always get about halfway done, and then it slows down or freezes or crashes or something if I try to do it all at once. I can't. It won't let me import the decks from other places.
Now, I haven't tried importing them.
It won't let me. It won't let me copy the like I can go on, because there's another place called Dreamborn.inc where you can go and build decks, and I've can't import it. I don't know. Maybe it's just because my computer isn't like optimized for anything. It's just a regular ass laptop.
Oh, gotcha.
So maybe it's that. But I've found that like I have to build half the deck in one ink and then go back, because there's something about the way it fills in that really slows it down. So I have to like save it and then go back in and then build the other ink, put the other ink in there. But I can't even do that. Like I can't build because I've tried to build like 2 decks in a row, and that didn't work either. So it's frustrating with that. But playing it is actually pretty good.
Yeah. Playing against other people. It still has like a couple like bugs in it, because
there's bugs here and there. Yeah. Like it don't want, like there's a card that makes every opponent discard 2 cards. It will not let you play that if the opponent has 1 card in their hand.
Weird.
Yeah, you have forgotten me does not work. It's very frustrating, because I'm like, I want to make you, because because the other deck that I'm playing is an amber steel deck. Mm-hmm. It's called a steel song, because you have these songs that you have a card, an aerial card that can tutor for them, basically. Kind of. It's this, I don't know what you call it, where you look at the top so many cards of your deck and
it's scrying.
Scrying, yeah. And then it's not an actual tutor where you look through the deck. But you like look at the top 4, and then you get the card, and then you get a song.
That's still a card advantage, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you mostly use those for ink, because most of the songs that you have aren't that great, but there's a couple of songs that are really good. So you're able to like put out a wide board, but also deal with things, because steel has a lot of good removal and stuff.
Would making a deck using mostly evasion creatures be good?
There is an Ruby Emerald aggro that is pretty annoying, because there's a lot of evasive stuff in Emerald. There's a lot of evasive stuff in Ruby.
One that I saw was Ruby Amethyst, and that was
Ruby Amethyst Control is probably the top deck right now, because it just has a lot of stuff. But I think that there are other archetypes that work really well against that. The aggro deck that I had, the Amber Emerald aggro, I think works pretty decently. That deck is really just bad against steel. Like that's if I see somebody is playing a steel deck, like that's really bad for me. Because it has a lot of like low cost, high lore, low cost, low stats, but high lore.
And then someone just plays the smash card deal.
Yeah, because my thing, a lot of the cards that's in that deck that I have are about punishing you or helping me whenever you challenge me. So it's either like, okay, you challenge me, you're going to discard a card. You challenge me and you defeat this card. Okay, that card is automatically banished.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to punish you for that. But then, like, steel has a lot of things to where you don't even have to challenge me to get rid of these cards.
Yeah, you just play a Tinkerbell and just deal 1 damage.
Just Tinkerbell and deal 1 damage to all my shit, and then
raise your swords, deal 5 damage to each of you.
Well, so that's only 2 damage, but it's a 5 cost.
Yeah.
But you can have somebody sing it for free.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's really good with in Amber, where Ariel can sing higher cost cards. It can tutor for it and scry for it, and then she can sing it even though she's a 3 cost. She can sing up to 5 cost things. So you can pull that out. I can wipe your board, and then my next turn I can just sing that with her for free, because you really don't care about her getting exhausted or whatever. But yeah. That's a really fun archetype. I would say try and look that up, because you can do a lot of fun. It's a mid-range deck where you're throwing around a lot of terms that if you don't know, like people are using a lot of like Magic terms for this. I'm trying to like change to to what the Lorcana
It's really hard to get away from that because
and it's because like the archetypes and everything you can talk about.
Like aggro, that's that was
all of this was started by those I'm fine with using, but I try to like it's not mana, they're inks.
Well, that is a hard habit to break for anybody who's playing Magic.
But even when I was playing Netrunner, we'd be like, okay, this is a tutor. Okay,
right.
This is I'm searching.
Well,
my deck
because
for something.
that's obviously the terminology.
Yeah.
is built in.
Well, then I think if you want to bring people into the game, you have to give them terms that they've heard before.
Right.
Like going back to the LCGs real quick with Fantasy Flight, it's like I exhaust this card. So what do you? Well, I take it and I turned it 90 degrees.
Right.
Oh,
Oh,
so
you mean nope. Exhaust, sir. It's a completely different thing. That's why it needs 3 extra letters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or
Now,
4 extra letters.
The people that made
5.
Lorcana are very smart in knowing that a lot of the terms for their keywords are, if not close adjacent to terms that are used in keywords for Magic. Evasive. In Magic, creatures with flying and creatures that are unblockable are considered evasive creatures because you can't block them unless you have a creature that has the same kind of text.
Yeah.
So a creature with flying can only block a creature with flying. In Lorcana, a creature can only challenge another creature if it has evasive, if the other creature has evasive. So in haste, it's also the same thing. Was it rush? Or
rush.
Those are similar terms.
Yeah. But the difference in Lorcana is that you're never in Magic you're attacking the player and then they block with the creatures.
Right.
In Lorcana you're always attacking the character.
Exactly.
And then your characters can be used for 2 different things. You can either attack a character, or you can quest where you gain lore, which is how you win the game. So there are some differences.
But like say for example, like the challenge mechanic they have in the game. There's a fight mechanic in Magic.
Yeah.
And so it's similar terminology.
And it's kind of like with some of it, it's like Magic has been around for so long that it's hard to do something different. I think like Netrunner is like the most different from Magic, and even then it has things that matter. But it's been around for so long and it's done so much, and there's been so many like keywords and stuff that it's hard to do.
Just
anything.
a quick point, and it's weird to say that.
And I don't want to like we're not really arguing.
No, we're not.
But yeah, just quick point of order, and it's weird to say that Magic and Android or Android is more different than Magic because Magic and Android were both developed by the same man.
Yeah,
which is blows my mind.
Well, like I said, like my thing is like they did that shit on purpose because people a card game is coming out. You're not going to just aim at Disney collectors and kids, but you're also going to like aim at people that play other card games because that's going to probably be half of your player base anyway. So I think it was a really good strategic idea for them to use terminologies that would be easily,
understandable.
Words. Absorbed like osmosis, basically.
Yeah, what the bugbear that I kind of get is when I hear people like talking about Lorcana, say online or on a video or something, and they're using just Magic. Okay, this is my mana pool. This is this is that, and I'm like, this is a different game. Yes, it's using similar mechanics, and it's easy to and it's good to say, okay, ink is like my mana. This is like this other term and stuff like this. Haste is like rush. This like this. But if you're playing this game, I would say like, hey, play like you try and use those terms.
Use the terminology using.
Oh yeah.
If you have to use it as like a shortcut, it was okay for me to remember what this does.
Yeah,
that's what this is.
Right.
And some things are so ubiquitous, like the word you just saying the word tap for turning a card sideways. Yes, that's what they use. Like that is less, but like I don't even know what I'm fucking trying to say.
No, I see what you're saying because people that are exclusively using just Magic terminology to explain what they're doing in the game when they're playing the game. I understand that 100%.
This is not an expansion pack to Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Well, no, not at all. Like I caught myself when I was playing Holder the first time we were playing. I would use terminology and be like, I mean this, instead, because I mean it is very similar in some ways. For one, it's hard to say, but
I also do realize that's easy for me to say. I don't play Magic.
Right.
I don't really care too much about Magic.
Right.
And all the other card games that I've played, I've been able to like pull back from that, and it's been a very long time since I've even played a card game, so like none of that is even in my head, and even those are like the two main ones with me is Netrunner, Android Netrunner, and then the Game of Thrones card game, and those two are kind of a step back from a lot of what Magic does.
Yeah, it's like playing the game for like 20 plus years for me. Like it's hard to do.
I get that.
The term exhaust is used in almost every other card game for tapping. Like it's
Neil in Game of Thrones.
Yes. Is it?
Yeah.
It's exhaust in Weiss Schwartz and in the other game that's like Weiss Schwartz that I can't remember off topic right now offhand. But anyway.
Yeah, and that's Lorcana Corner.
The
card game
that's the
corner.
best stop for you.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's the rest stop.
There's a rest stop for you.
Oh no, we're still going. So we also, after most everybody had left, we played Ticket to Ride Europe. Which, if you're gonna play a version of that, honestly, I would say go with that because it adds just enough new stuff from your base Ticket to Ride experience that it's not too overbearing. It adds more depth without adding complexity, which I'm always a big fan of as far as board games go. Basically, Ticket to Ride, you have a map of some area. In the base game, it's the United States, but in Europe, obviously, it's a greater part of Europe. You also have expansion maps that can take you to pretty much everywhere in the world. I'm expecting the next one to be Mars. That's just my guess on that one. I'm not 100%.
There is the next thing that's actually coming out. They haven't announced anything the newest thing that they've announced is Ticket to Ride Legacy. It's a Wild West thing.
Oh, okay, I'm all for that. And Wild West is a perfect setting for a legacy game for that. Yeah,
that would be interesting, but like there's no point in us getting it because we're never going to if we play it, we're never going to finish it.
We're 4 months into it, which is basically 4 games or 4 rounds of Pandemic with myself, Brady, Jason Holder, and Christopher Gomez. The rounds are in months, and we finished 4 of those, and then we've just never played again.
Yeah. And that was
so many years
before
ago.
The actual pandemic.
That was 7-8 years because there's already like 3 other other pandemic legacies.
We had done 3 games in one night. And then it would been about a week or two because we never get our schedules to match. And then all of a sudden it was McNarb After Dark, and literally the only 4 people in the building were all of us. And we all were just kind of floating there. And all of a sudden Brady goes, "Wait a minute, do you guys know what we could do?" And I was like, and then I looked around, I was like, Pandemic Legacy. And so we got the 4th game.
It just came out.
Yeah.
We started playing it when it just came out. And there's been so many, other legacy games since then.
Yeah.
Monopoly's got a legacy.
There have been so many specific Rob Davio designed legacy games.
Betrayal has a
Betrayal.
So Betrayal, Seafall, which was an original production from Rob Davio. I have a full inbox still in the cellophane.
Yeah.
Because again, the specter of when
legacy
we start
games.
when we start this, it's never going to get finished.
Right.
Damn it.
Stonemeyer did Charterstone, which is a legacy game.
Is there a legacy version of Scythe, or is that a campaign?
It's a campaign.
That's a campaign, okay.
and it's not really legacy. It's more of just a campaign box. I bought that when it first came out and still haven't played
Gloomhaven.
Gloomhaven is by itself a legacy. Although you can also buy the replacement sticker pack, so you can go at it again.
That's also Charterstone has that as well.
Yeah.
Risk has a legacy.
Risk
That was
was
the original.
the first legacy game.
Ultimate Werewolf has a legacy version.
Yep.
It's called Werewolf Legacy.
There's tons of them, and then now Ticket to Ride's going to have one.
Lots of legacy games I will never play.
Fuck. It's the game that's like Space Base, Town.
Machikoro
has a legacy.
No.
No, actually, I wouldn't mind that one. I would not mind Machikoro Legacy because it's a very simple game. It's a very good game.
Yeah.
And just adding the legacy, I could see where building a town and having it develop over time in that abstraction, I could see where that
outside
could work.
of a handful of games, I can't remember playing the same board game twice with a lot of people up here.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Well, I mean,
I played Trajan 2 times in my entire life.
Yeah.
2 times.
And that's one of your favorites, isn't it?
That's one of our problems is that we can't get things to the table multiple times.
Well, Brady, just between you and me, we've got 150 unique games between the two of us. There's never anything that we can we're gonna play this and drill this in until it was an anomaly for us to do 4 sessions of an RPG, not just for the show.
Right.
just in general. But we
Right.
got 4. We're able to knock 4 of those out.
Well, we only have so much time in the week.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard to fit that in.
I think, but I think also that we have a bias towards the new and trying different things. I think there's a genuine bias that we have with that, where we don't want to stick with the same thing over and over again. Because the flip side of that problem is if you're playing something over and over and over again, it becomes stale.
That's the thing. Like I like one of my favorite games is Pillars of the Earth, and there was one night where me, Gomez, and somebody else I can't remember played it 2 weeks in a row, and I was like, okay, I don't want to play this game for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like that's just how I am.
Right.
But I can also see like with the legacy game, like it's really cool because you're just starting things over. You're just kind of everything is you're always adding something new,
Different but the same.
like we've only played 4 of those games, but every game like, oh shit, we got this cool thing, oh shit, we can do this now, oh that's great. I've thought several times about getting the Pandemic season 0, which is not about it takes place during the Cold War, and your agents trying to stop enemy agents instead of just. And I've heard that one's really, really good. I've thought about getting that to play with. Well, back when it first came out, it would have been with both of my kids, but Gabe, I don't see him hardly anymore because he's at college. But at least with Lily or something like that. But we just don't fucking have time because we also have other hobbies and stuff like that. So, we just don't
Too
get around
many
to
hobbies.
So we played Ticket to Ride Europe, and it was one of the best games I think we've ever had at the shop of it.
It was a good one.
Because it ended up 4 points in one train. If one train had been differently placed on the board, a completely different person would have won the game. And the top 3 were within about 6 points of one another.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And we had new players that grokked the system quick and were able to start making moves.
Yeah,
It was
JT
great.
picked up on it really.
Yeah, well, again, that's what, to me, like, if you want to start people out in board gaming, I still say Settlers of Catan is a good choice. Ticket to Ride, I think, is an excellent choice. I used to say Pandemic, and now I go more with Horrified.
Right.
Just because of the word pandemic has a completely different meaning than it did before 2020.
Yeah,
true.
But you have all these games that are just very simple rules, and the depth of the game comes in actually playing it out rather than having to have to deal with complex
Yeah, Ticket to
rules.
Ride is a game where you can just kind of leisurely play it. No, I'm gonna put down a route here, and I got my ticket. That's great. And then you can play it super ruthlessly, where you're like, okay, I have to get this, and you're racing to get the cards that you need, and you got to get this one thing, and then you fuck up because you take a Hail Mary to get more tickets at the end of at the last turn of
that's
the
what
game.
happened to me.
Places no trains on the map that you wanted.
Yeah.
And it fucks you,
So-
and you lose by the exact amount of the ticket that you had to take.
So our game of it, it's like I had 3 tickets that all started in literally the most Western Europe, Lisbon. It started in Lisbon, going to middle of Europe. I'm like, okay, as long as nobody really places too much in Western Europe, I should be okay.
Yeah.
The first 6 placements in the game, and I had 2 of them, all were in Western Europe. And I was
Jesus.
like, well, shit. Meanwhile, Eastern European Jody right here had no one placing around him.
Damn.
No one. I'm like, oh, Jody's just fucking got this. And then he got into the same trap everyone who plays Ticket to Ride gets into at some point. No matter what game of it you're playing, eventually you will fall into this trap. Man, Petrograd to, I think it's Copenhagen, or
it's
the 8 train route that's a tunnel. He drew cards for 8 rounds.
Damn.
And then he drew cards for 4 more rounds on top of that.
Damn.
Yeah.
And then he got it, and I'm like, if any of this comes up, where you have to put more cards down, I'm gonna get stabbed in the throat because I'm the one pulling these cards off. 1, no, 2, no, 3, no. He got them down. That's great. But by that time, the Eastern European expansion.
Well,
came
I
in.
got him down because I did the only time I've ever done this in a board game like this. I go, Jay, tell me how many orange cards are in the discard pile. Because I had half the deck in my hand.
So before that, no, it's like, can I see the rule book for a second? Yeah, sure. And so he looked.
Oh, yeah,
He
I was
flips
seeing
to
her-
the page with how many of each type
Yeah.
are in the deck.
Yeah.
And then he's like, how many oranges are in the discard? I'm like, okay, well, I know what you're doing. I wish you all the luck in the world, comrade.
Like, there's 1 left in the discard. There's only like 4 cards left in the actual
Stockholm.
deck.
It's Stockholm
Yeah.
to Petrograd.
Yeah.
I've saved one email.
Everybody
Just one.
else pretty much probably has like 1 or 2 orange cards, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So I got 1 extra card, and I needed 1 extra card because
Oh yeah, because I did flip over one. Yeah.
because one came up, a rainbow came up, and I had one in my hand, and I'm like, boom!
Last word on this. My buddy Johnny Parkman, when we played it before, he got 8 locomotives in order to do that run, and he got it.
Wow.
But he held on to 8 locomotives.
I wanted to say something before you got into that, just for one second. Ticket to Ride is probably the easiest accessible out of most of the games that we play, because to me, it has the classic board game feel to it, like, and accessibility as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know how easy it is to play Monopoly or Risk or, Clue, or in case somebody fucks up in Clue. Besides that, though, like, it's very fun, accessible, and it's a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those like intro games that works very, very well. Yeah.
Ticket to Ride is very fun.
And it's got really, like, the expansions most of them are really, really good.
The last time I played Ticket to Ride, we were playing the Sails and
Rails
and Sails.
expansion.
I'm not crazy about Rails and Sails because it's too it's too nerve wracking, because you have to pick how many ships and picking how many ships and how many trains in the beginning is like really rough.
Yeah.
If you fuck up, like, you're basically screwed out of the entire game from the beginning, and you just don't know it until the very
And
end.
especially because you have to swap out, and each of those swaps subtracts a point from you.
Yeah.
Well, Ticket to Ride also, besides expansions, has like standalone sets.
Yeah.
Like Europe is its own game.
Nordic countries is a 3-player base, which they made Heart of Africa. Heart of Africa is the 3rd expansion map for Ticket to Ride ever. And what it does is everything on the coast of Africa has dual routes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of easy to maneuver there. But when you need to go through the Heart of Africa, all single routes.
Yeah, it's all single. It's absolutely brutal.
Doesn't matter if you're playing 2 to 5 players. Someone's going to block somebody off, and someone's going to get mad.
Yeah.
It's just the way it
can
is.
It can be brutal.
My favorite of those, I think, is France. And the reason why I like France so much is because when the board starts and it is completely blank, like, you have the outlines of, like, this looks like would be a 4-car route, but there's no spaces on the thing in order to be able to place things. So when you take your train cars, you pick up a route and you place it on the board. And so now that is what you need to complete that.
Yeah.
Somebody could come behind you if you're not realizing what the car is, more mid game than anything else, can come behind you and, they just placed that down. Oh, I can plot that right there. And now more than likely you've messed them up. And that's where the mess up is there. But what I love about that game is legitimately different every single time you play it, because you're making the map as the game is going on.
Right.
Yeah, France, I absolutely hate that map. I do not like that map. I'm not good at it, and the time that I played it, I did not find it enjoyable at all. That is my absolute least favorite map of Ticket to Ride.
I want to say there was a map you showed me. It was like the Great Lakes map or something like that.
Okay, so on the other side of Rails to Sails, you have the Great Lakes, which is, if I remember correctly, it's either that one or it's the Pennsylvania map. I can't remember.
Pennsylvania map has
stocks. Has stock. Okay, so it is Pennsylvania that has stocks. Great Lakes is just another version of that. But that one has more train spots to it because it's still got a lot of land on it. Rails and Sails should mostly be called sails, and sometimes you place train cars.
Yeah.
Because most of the time it's boats, and it's a shitload of boats.
There's a lot of boats.
And then it also adds the harbors, which are like... They're like train stations in that you put them on the board, and that's where the whole thing ends. You have to make sure your tickets run through where you're putting your harbors to get multiple bonus points off of that.
The last time I played, I had all my tickets ran from the east coast of the United States into Western Europe. So I had all of my harbors on like New York City, Great England.
Great England. That's how the English treat it, by the way. But yeah,
France. And so I immediately, when we got to calculating the points, it was like, okay, all of my harbors have tickets, so I get 120 points through my harbors alone.
There you go.
And I beat Jason Sims by 2 points.
I think my favorite
and he's
map
still
of
mad
those
about that.
are probably Great Britain. I think is my favorite because it's there's tech with that. Like starting out, you can only go in England. And I think you can only do 1, 2.
You can do 1, 2s, and 3s. Because,
1, 2s, and 3.
And you have to
sized
spend
tracks.
And you have to spend locomotives to purchase the technologies that allow you to do
so if you
want to
go into Wales or you want to go into Scotland, you gotta hit that. You gotta buy that tech. If you want to go, if you want to make 4 and 5 tracks, you gotta buy that tech.
And I'll say they were very thoughtful in that game because there are more percent locomotives in that game than anything else, so they make it so that
I think you even start with 1.
Yeah, you start with like at least 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
And
it's been a while since I played that.
But again, you have to, because like ferries, for instance, if you want to place anything that require like the gray routes that require at least 1 locomotive, you can't place on them originally unless you get that technology. Yeah. Fantastic. I like the way they do most of their expansions.
Yeah, most of their expansions are pretty good. Some of them, like I don't particularly feel like playing Heart of Africa because it is incredibly stressful. Played it once. It's good.
For me, the bookkeeping on that one is bad because that has the terrain feature where you take terrain cards, and if you complete a route of a certain color and you cash in a certain amount of terrain cards with it, you double the points you get for that route.
Ooh.
The problem there is what usually happens in a game of Ticket to Ride. I place my train cars and then someone else goes and we forget to score it. You can't do that in Heart of Africa.
Right.
You have to anytime you have to stop, score this shit and move on.
When I play Ticket to Ride, I prefer to always score it whenever you place it down, which is how you're supposed to. But a lot of times, people will just put it down and then they'll score it at the end, and I don't particularly like that.
Well, with me, it's not even intentional. Just with the games that I usually play with friends, like we usually have there's a good fun energy in the room, and it's like, oh, we're placing stuff down, we're talking, we're having mild trash talk, we're having a good time with it, and we're it's the company that we're keeping. And like I'll say this, if we were like going for a prize, everything's getting scored immediately, and no one's looking over.
Oh yeah, like when we did that Ticket to Ride tournament, and then the dude cheated.
And the dude cheated. And,
Whoa.
All right, so this will be the last bit of the rest stop.
Yeah.
Brady, unload.
Yeah, we were playing, and like the last couple of rounds, he pulled tickets, which is oftentimes a good move if you really don't have. Instead of like drawing more cards or putting, there's not really any good routes to put down or anything like that. You can draw more tickets and take the chance that, hey, I'm gonna pull something that I already have, and that'll give me just free points basically. And he did that like the last couple of rounds, and then he won. And then when we were putting up all the games, we noticed that this was back when McNarbs had like mats on the tables and stuff like that. He had hidden a couple of tickets underneath the mats.
And our friend, again, Jason Sims mentioned earlier, Jason Sims brought in his copy to help because that way we could have multiple games going all at the same time. We asked him, hey, are you missing these 2 tickets? And he looked through his stuff. Yep, those are the exact tickets I've been missing.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
do I know this person?
Yes, maybe.
Probably.
Strong maybe.
Did y'all
the names of the guilty will remain.
We'll talk about it off mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did y'all play for money? Or?
It was like so.
It was
there
pay,
was a
to get
few
in.
years ago. They did tournament. They did a few board game tournament. It was some kind of like thing I think that was happening.
That was Unrivaled, but this was even before Unrivaled.
No. But no, they did. They did Splendor. They did.
It was play for a game.
Yeah.
It was play for a game. I think it was like an Asmodee thing.
Yeah,
or something like that.
I never told Greg that, but that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to play in those tournaments. Like when that in particular happened, I was like, no, I love these games and I love playing them, and I even like playing with new people. But when people are actively fucking cheating to get some extra plastic tat, that's it. That's all it was, and it was like, okay, no.
Yeah.
Well,
passengers, cheaters never prosper. So there you go.
And prospers never cheat.
Yes.
Yeah. Except for that one time in Love Letter where I saw his
that was hilarious
card, and then I immediately guessed it. That was fun.
Yeah, that's what you get, Ethan, for Cameron having to go to the front desk and take care of customers.
Yeah, it's all your fault.
Well, passengers, thank you for sticking with us and listening to our board game chatters, or what you will listen to with a rest stop.
They will definitely be listening to it as.
It's definitely a rest stop. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
And that'll do it for another Rest Stop. Again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for stopping by and enjoying the ride with us. If you have any feedback on this, please give it to us at travelersontheomnibus@gmail.com. Again, that is travelers, 1L, on the omnibus @gmail.com. You can also take part in our polls and questions on Spotify. And if you have any friends who'd like to listen to this as well, but they don't listen on the podcasting channels you like to listen to, we are available on Spotify, Apple, Google, and Amazon. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James McCarthy for Travelers on the Omnibus. And that's it. Bye-bye.